Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Reality Realness with 3 S's. I'm your host here, Chantele Francis. Here with my lovely co-host. I can't do this today. My co-host, Tanya. How are you doing today, Tanya?
Hi, happy Friday the 13th.
Is that why it's a ho-host?
That's why I'm the ho-host. Ooh, spooky ooky.
Well, if this is I'm on Reality Realness. Well, then welcome. Thanks for hanging out with us. If you're coming back, we love having you here too. Make sure you talk to us in the chat because we like hearing what you guys have to say and we love interacting with you guys. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe and write down over there. It really helps us out. We're on our way to 1,000 subscribers and we can't do it without you. So we're getting back to part B of The Bachelorette episode 5. We ended off with the segment with Clare and Dale. I don't know if we talked enough about it. Do you have any more that you want to say about that little segment?
I think we got there with that segment. We talked about how even if she didn't speak to him beforehand, she definitely stalked him online and had an idea of what she thought he was going to be. And also that he seems to be not on the same page as her ultimately, and the cringiness of that conversation. I really hope that that's like the last that we get of them for now, because I think we're good on the Clare and Dale updates.
Hi, Rachel. Rachel says, hey.
Hi, Rachel.
So, okay, the one thing I thought was kind of interesting, and you would think that it would help them, realize that they might be moving too fast, is that they were talking about how they didn't have each other's phone number and stuff like that. And even within The Bachelor and Bachelorette, there's still 6 weeks that people get to know each other, and then they have the hometown dates, they have all this stuff, and then they have like 3 months where like they get to know each other before they come back and do the after the rose or whatever, all those talks. And so it's like so accelerated that I wish that they weren't just pretending like it's normal or that it's real. You know what I mean? I don't feel it. And
yeah.
It feels really forced, and it makes me really uncomfortable to watch it because it just doesn't seem right. There's something off about it. Ugh,
I think it went. Oh,
hi, Son. Hanging out with us. Okay, this is our first time that you've managed to catch the video from the start or halfway through. We're doing part B of the episode 5, but for the beginning of part B for sure. Sorry, go ahead, Tanya.
I think I was just going to say, I think they really, like, production really kind of made it feel this way, in the sense that they could have just been like, okay, Clare and Dale, they're going to be together. We're going to end the show here for her. They're going to go off. They're going to do their thing and they can continue their journey. But they really pushed, I think, him, and also convinced her that that proposal needed to happen for it to be like the end of this journey. And that tone going into your relationship where you've only known someone for 2 weeks into a kind of forced engagement just like really doesn't support their journey at all. They didn't need to be engaged. Like, it's okay.
Why couldn't they? This is what I was thinking. Like, because at the end of the episode 4, I was like, I didn't think that Dale was going to say yes to it, and I didn't think that Chris was even going to put the proposal on the table. Like, I didn't even think that that was part of the narrative until it was happening. I was like, oh my goodness, like, I can't believe that they're going to force these 2 people to get engaged. But I was thinking that wouldn't it be cool, bring Tayshia in or whatever, and then have Clare dating Dale at the same time and just going on different romantic dates, and we just follow journey for the same 6 weeks with Tayshia. Maybe there's a double date at some point or whatever. Like, maybe just like mix it in together. So at the end, maybe we'd have 2 proposals. But I just wish that they didn't button it. I know they wanted to just end the journey and like get it off the table, but I would have liked to maybe fall in love with them at the same time, because it was too fast for me to be involved in their journey, too fast for me to believe in their love, too fast for me to like be rooting for them, really. Like, of course I want them to do well, but like, I also don't really care. You know what I mean? So I feel as though they did them as a couple as a disservice, and for the show a little bit of a disservice, because as much as it's pretty gimmicky, the Bachelor series, but it's still like, I do feel it is possible to fall in love in these circumstances. And so I feel like they just kind of, they didn't do it any justice, the whole thing.
Something felt like off about it in the way that it was presented. Like it was maybe, I don't know if there's actually like any animosity behind the scenes because she kind of blew things up in the way that she did. I know on camera what we saw is Chris being like, we support you, happy for you. But I'm wondering if kind of like as collateral for her, they kind of were like, you're getting engaged. Because that's how it was presented to her. Like, this is going to end in the engagement. It wasn't a like, do you want to get engaged thing? It was like, this is what's happening. And then also separately, Dale basically just being told it's going to be an engagement. So it feels very like, well, if you're going to do this, then we have to at least have the proposal. If we're going to go out of our way to like totally change it up, then we need to have like this moment that we desire. That's how it felt to me.
To me, it definitely felt that it was very heavy-handed on the producers, and that neither of them would have taken it to the proposal that night if it wasn't suggested by Chris and production. So I totally agree with you there. I think that they were making lemonade out of lemons, like with Clare making a mockery of the whole season. Like just the whole season was terrible, entertaining, but terrible for what it usually stands for. And so I can see Chris being like, you messed up my show, so we're getting a proposal out of you. And if this is true love, it's going to be true love. So Son says maybe Chris thought Dale wouldn't go through with it.
Yeah, I don't know that Dale even wanted to go through with it, but he did apparently. So yeah, but didn't it seem to you like he didn't really have that option? Like obviously he has the option, but it felt very, you're gonna do this, right, Dale? Yeah,
and you're kind of sitting there, and it didn't look to me like he was like excited to be doing that at all.
He seemed surprised that because before that he was like, yeah, I'm looking forward to just like seeing how this continues and for us to get to know each other more and more. And they were like, actually, proposal. And he was like, okay.
The whole thing, like the last episode, was him like going from like, I think that I'm falling in love with Clare through this process to I'm in love with Clare to I'm getting engaged. Like I don't even think he's in love with her yet. He might be in lust with her. She's quite sexually forward, and she's a lot of like sexual energy. She leads with that. And so what guy doesn't want to be wanted and like have some woman that's like wants to, have her way with him. But I think that that's going to wear off soon. You know what I mean? When real life happens, when things come up behind the Instagram stories, like the real person is not the same. I feel so. Remember, I was saying yesterday, like if her father had seen the mother and like had seen a lot of photos, whatever, in the past, that it would be a little more creepy. It feels like it was a shrine. You know what I mean? When you see in these like creepy movies where someone has a shrine and pictures of all this person and their different day-to-day life things, and they fall in love with all these like cutouts pictures with this person, and they become like a stalker actually. And so I'm just not sure if it's all been started with the best intentions, yes, but I don't know if it's a solid foundation. I'm very shaky. But okay, that's it about Clare. I'm happy she got her shot at love. I hope that her and Dale do well, and that I'm completely wrong. I think I said this yesterday. And best of luck to them. I really do not feel like seeing them again. How do you feel about them having like a wedding in paradise?
Oh gosh. Can we I just want to say, does anybody look at those paradise weddings and think that's what I want my wedding to be? They're all so tacky. They're like built into the show. Usually there's like, even was it last Bachelor in Paradise where there was just like people from the season attending the wedding and that was filmed? I'm like, no. Nobody should want this. But I think that she probably wouldn't do it that way. I don't know that the show would offer it to her.
Oh, slice. Well, I think personally, if they offered it to her, I think she would take it because I think regardless of her being a little bit older or whatever, I still think she wants some relevancy. And so
Yeah.
I would think that, you know, like get a wedding that's paid for, get back into the camera. Like she probably gets paid, you know, an appearance fee of some sort in the tens of thousands. So it probably would be a financial step to be, let's get married on the bachelor's dime.
Oh, I mean, I would accept. If somebody wanted to pay for my wedding, yes, absolutely. I would be like, sure, but I wouldn't want it to be at like the resort they filmed Bachelor Paradise in with all
Okay.
of those people there.
Sayulita. So I went to Puerto Vallarta a couple years ago, and I all the places in like on Bachelor in Paradise, I totally have been to, and so like the streets or whatever, like the Airbnb I was staying at was like at the top floor of one of those. Like, so it's actually for me, I love seeing that it's not really even a resort, that area because it just reminds me of like one of my favorite vacations. It's a little beach town.
It looks beautiful, but yeah, not my thing.
I mean, I think that they just allow the Bachelor to have full reign of like what they're gonna do. But if it were me, I would hope that I'd be like, well, if we're gonna make it tacky, we're gonna have to make it really tacky, or you know what I mean? Like, I'd have to have a little bit of input into making it more me and less like just having them give me a wedding that doesn't really scream my aesthetic.
Yeah.
So we get back to Tayshia, and Tayshia is kind of having a moment where she's worried about whether or not the guys are going to be actually here for her, or if they're going to still have some reservations about Clare. What did you think about Tayshia going through these kind of feelings?
It seems like you know, the prescribed narrative that would come about, but I could relate to the fact that she doesn't want to feel like anybody's second choice. I think that's fair. Like we talked about, she came in with a really fresh energy. She's able to carry herself and handle herself very well given the circumstances, the awkwardness of just having to come into that first night with all those guys and not have it be the traditional like bachelorette limo entrance night that everyone else gets. So I think it's valid to be like, I'm obviously the person that they cast after Clare to take on this role. We all know that. I still don't want to feel like I'm just the second choice for these people. Like she still deserves for it to feel like an authentic process for her. So I could relate to that.
I definitely could relate to it. I wish that she maybe had said something and be like, hey, like if I'm going to be doing this with their same guys, can we do something to make them at least be excited? Like they are excited to see her way more than they were excited to see Clare. Definitely. Just something to make her a little bit more special. I would have liked, instead of her just walking in like by herself, being like, hey guys, like I'm your new bachelorette. You have no idea who I am. And you know, it seem like the Bachelor really cares to really introduce me and make me be like desirable and exciting. So I wish that they kind of made her entrance a little bit better, but I totally can feel for her, like not wanting to be second best. But then I'm also thinking, sorry guys, just gonna throw a slight bit of shade that I don't think that Clare has anything on Tayshia. Like she's just her energy, her beauty, like her funness, like it's just all, in my opinion, just more likable and more exciting. And so I don't think she has anything to worry about, but I can understand having a little bit of, you know, apprehension and a little bit of, you know, scaredness. I'd be scared.
Yeah.
I wouldn't like it necessarily. Sonny says Tayshia is more suited for the guys. I thought that they were too young for Clare. That's another thing. What did you think about that? Because apparently they went and recast for Clare, and they cast like maybe 3 people that were over the age of 35, and the rest, like there was like 10 that were under 30, and you know the rest were like, you know, maybe from 30 to 35. And I was like, she said that she would date younger. But I think that that is what her problem has been so far, is that she's not dating people her own age. And, you know, Dale in 5 years, he might be like, you know, this might not be the life that I want here. I'm going to go back out there and try this all again. And she's going to be 44 and he's going to be only 35, and he's great age for someone to get married. So what do you think about the fact that they didn't even bother to cast people that would be suitable for her more likely to make a realistic love connection.
On a technicality, they're writing on this statement of saying they cast older, but the only reason it seems like they cast people older is because they usually cast people who are like 22 years old. So when people are 29 or 30 years old, yes, that's technically older, but for someone who's about to be 40 versus someone who's about to be 30, I don't think there's anything wrong with that gap, but I think you're in very different places in life. Like,
Absolutely.
in the same way that you could be like, you know, approaching 30 and then you're dating someone in their early 20s, that you're like not in the same place. That could work for some people, but I don't think them casting older was like really casting older. Like, where are the 40-year-old men? Like, where are the men that are her age? And that should be like the average, I think, of the people that they found. But they just still cast young people for her. So
I think I would have really, and that's something that I was excited about, because like I'm in Clare's age bracket as opposed to like these guys. And like I'm older than all the guys that they cast on that show. Okay, every single one of them. And I'm just kind of like, I would be so disappointed because I've never dated younger, really, maybe like one person, and like it didn't work out because like completely different places. And not to say, like, as you said, that it's not possible for you to have a connection with somebody that's 10 years younger than you. I know a lot of marriages that are successful in that age, you know, balance, but it's usually the men that are older than the women, usually, generally speaking, when it works at that well, just because men tend to take longer to mature, and women are just like light years ahead emotionally and having emotional maturity. So I was disappointed because I would have loved to see like 35 to 45-year-old men talk to Clare, you know, because she's still treating them like mom or like these boys and like scolding them and like, you're supposed to do this. Like men, like Bennett, he kind of commands himself. Like when he was sitting down with Clare, even though he, you know, he did the roasting and she didn't really like what he had to say, but he's like, well, I'm here with you now. How about me and you talk? You know what I mean? And he was able to stand in his own and be like, I don't want to have that be the narrative of our conversation. He was man enough to be able to do that. And even Tayshia, we see her earlier on talking about how Zach is like, oh yeah, he's a man. Like he just, like I could just see he exudes manliness. And it's because he's 36 years old. He's lived years longer than most of the cast. It means
I mean, the other thing with Clare is that she also like probably should seek out a partner not through a television show. That might be helpful to her as well. But that's a different situation because then we wouldn't have the show that we have right now. But I think maybe it would benefit her to not meet and get engaged to men that she meets through the Bachelor franchise only.
Yeah, that's the thing. But okay, just to counterpoint that, though, this is kind of her job, right? So a lot of people meet their life partners through work and work engagements. And so if we look at the Bachelor Nation as being part of her career, it makes sense that she only really meets people within the franchise. So I'll give her the benefit of the doubt there, because like I don't think she's been hairstyling lately. You know what I mean?
I don't think so.
Exactly. So it's the next day, I believe, and Chris comes over and talks to the guys, and he has a date card. They're talking obviously about how like they love Tayshia's energy, and the date card is for Blake, Riley, Zach, Jordan, Noah, Peter, Kenny J, Easy, holy a lot of people, and Spencer. So they are going to be going for their second shot at love. So it is a very similar date to dodgeball. Basically, they're playing water polo. They go and meet up with Tayshia, and that's where we get the scene where Tayshia comes out of the water in the red bathing suit, like a Bond girl. Thought she looked great coming out of the water, but then when her hair started drying, I felt that she probably felt self-conscious because it didn't look as great. You know, like that kind of look on black needs to stay wet, or it's kind of like, like. God, Bachelor people don't understand black hair. Like, that's what all I was thinking right now is like, a black woman getting her hair wet without like having it be like very well taken care of. It's like difficult. Chlorine, not good for black hair. And having it dried without like having conditioner or any sort of oil is like not great. But she went with it. She still looked good. And so the guys come over and they're going to be wearing little Speedos. So it was a big deal about how Clare wanted them to be in strip ball, dodge. What do you think about the difference of this and like how the reaction from people about it?
I think this time around, they were obviously a little bit more willing to do the Speedo thing, even though it was still ridiculous and gratuitous. For me, I'm just like, I don't care to see these guys in Speedos. Maybe I'm not speaking for the wider audience, and some people do want to see that, but personally, I don't care. That being said, they like do gratuitous stuff like this with girls on The Bachelor all the time, where they have to wear like sexy outfits to do like obstacle courses and stuff. So I'm here for the transfer of power, but at the end of the day, I'm not on a Yusuf level of offended at all, but I'm also like, we don't need to do this. Like, come on, who cares?
Underwater
like,
shots of men in their Speedos?
Like, why? Why?
I'm kind of with you in the sense that like I don't care to see it. It's not like I'm not one of those people like, yes.
Yeah.
I went to like a women's strip club once, and like these women were rowdy, and so I think that they're playing to the rowdy bachelorette party type of energy. Just like, get those men's shirts up, woo! Like, you know. It's not really my style. I find it embarrassing to be like to act like that. I did do it for my 40th birthday though. I did go to a male strip club and acted like a crazy randy like sex-starved housewife, you know.
I think it's just the way they present it is like, it's such a crazy thing. These guys have their shirts off and they're in their Speedos and yada, yada, yada. But like really at the end of the day, it's like shirtless guys, they're in the pool anyways. So you can't really see the bottom half of their body to begin with when they're like playing this pool basketball game, whatever this game was. Splash ball.
Splash ball. It was
splash ball.
Polo? No, it wasn't polo. I have no idea what the rules were. I'm assuming it was just like basketball rules-ish. How do you dribble? Don't know.
There seemed to be a lot of fouls committed in the game, so I'm not sure what rules we were playing by in good old splash ball here.
How did that happen, though? I didn't really see what was going on. I was probably like writing or taking notes, but like, how did Riley and Spencer get into like whatever, a scuffle?
It really was not okay. So leading up until that moment where Spencer gets hit basically by Riley's elbow, the commentary up to that point is like, Spencer's being so aggressive. Look at how aggressive he's being. Oh my God, why is he doing this way, taking this so seriously? He's really, getting out there. And then the ball looks like it's going out of bounds or something. And Riley basically like swings his arm back, not intentionally, but it strikes Spencer in the mouth, basically his elbow or his arm. And then that causes the blood. There's a lot of blood comment.
Well, one thing I do like about these little segments is I do like the Chris Harrison and the Bachelorette kind of commentary, or even if it's the other way around. Like I do like when they do that. And it kind of like all backfired because like, you were saying that you don't think that Riley did it on purpose, but he was also probably not being considerate of the people around him because he didn't like Spencer. No. So maybe if it was somebody else there, he would have been like, oh, like just like, move away from making that contact. But regardless though, I think it was all fair in the game. I didn't think that he was like roughhousing or whatever, but it definitely backfired because Tayshia came over and gave him a little bit of like, are you okay? And like a little bit of like loving motherly energy. So I don't particularly like Spencer. I think we talked about it, but I don't even think he's that cute. Do you see the spark between them?
No, I think he's just competitive and wants to win, including like win the girl. But in Bachelor terms, I do not think he's here for the right reasons. I do not.
J Jobs in the house. Hey, J Jobs. Hello. What an alternative group date ideas do you have for the resort? I'm having a hard time thinking of good ideas. That's a good question. I mean, I love the idea that they have the Ferris wheel that's going to be coming up. I don't know how this pillow fight's going to work. Like, it seems quite lame. What could they do? Maybe they could create a roller skating rink. And like have them like roller skate around and maybe dress up like 70s or something. I'm considering my birthday, so that's why I'm thinking about roller rinks. Maybe mini golf would be something they could easily do. Because
and they like go out on a boat or something. Like, is there water there? Like, where are they? Where is La Quinta?
It's in Palm Springs.
Okay, so maybe not so much. I don't know. Like, that's a really good question, and I'm wondering what they're actually gonna like do next week, because it looks like a conference room that they're in having that competition. I don't know what it even is with Ashley and Jared in the preview. I'm like, what is this room? What's going on here? What are they doing?
Meeting room number 4 on the second level.
Yeah. Big conference energy.
They could do, what else could they do? I said dune biking, if they can go and leave the resort and go into like the deserty part. Maybe rock climbing they could figure out. Hot air balloon. What else have I done in Vegas, basically, because it's kind of the same climate.
Did they already do like a spa day?
It looked like they were at my house. I did that like in my tub.
That was disgraceful. That was so bad. It looked so gross what they were doing. Like, even what they were putting on the face, like for the facial and everything. I was like, what the what's going on? What is that?
Riley and Spencer base hit his elbow. Yeah, I figured out what was happening, but I just didn't see how it led up, because I just saw like all of a sudden he was bleeding. But thanks, Jay Jobs. You're always on it.
I will say that if we were playing by basketball rules or whatever, if you look at the clip, Riley is not really going for the ball when he hits Spencer. He kind of swings his arm back and the ball is already going out of bounds. So it doesn't really make sense. And while I don't think it was intentional, it's definitely still a foul in my eyes in terms of how that went down.
Ooh, look at you with the sports terminology. The rules of the game. Yes.
No, not really.
His mom says, I don't like Riley, and I don't think that Tayshia is sexually attracted to him either. I've never really liked Riley. I did a draft with Brazil that some of you guys know from the podcast, and she and I, neither of us drafted him on our teams. We felt that, like, from just his preseason and the comments that Chris Harrison was making about him, that he's a little bit guarded, standoffish, and a little bit reserved. And I haven't felt engaged with him. I think it's amazing that he's a lawyer and that, like, you know, he does very well for himself, and he's come up from, you know, bologna sandwiches to, you know, probably whatever he's doing now, being on The Bachelor. But I don't really gravitate towards his energy, but I do feel as though he's more interested in getting to know Tayshia. For shizzle. So Blue wins, which is, you know, I couldn't really tell who was on whose team anyways. I was just kind of pleased that Blake from Canada lost again. Is that bad?
No, I was happy that happened.
Oh, I was thinking of that too, Son. So casino night. Yes, I had that in my head about Vegas. That'd be fun too.
That's a good idea.
A movie night, like at a big movie theater. That's kind of cute, and have popcorn and like sit and watch like a romantic movie or something. That could be cute. Drive-in would be adorable. I think there's a decent amount that you could do, and people are like hired to be on the creatives team to like figure out dates for these people. Like, they didn't need to do any dates for Clare. She did 2 dates that were like, one was throwing a rock at a wall, and the other one was dodgeball, and the other one was the spa date. All of them were pretty chintzy.
Mm-hmm.
They need their new creative team, because I hope they have some better ideas for Tayshia, if you know what I mean. So Kenny is bummed that he didn't win as well. What am I saying here? Tay spray of change. Oh, I don't know. I don't know what I wrote there, so we will just skip over that. But did Kenny say something of interest?
I don't even know. I know he was really throwing up some shots in the game and trying to get his team the W, but it didn't play out for them. But the winning team just gets to spend like a bit of the day with her, and then she did say that everybody else would join them for the after party.
Which I think is good because she must have been pre-warned by Chris Harrison that these guys are a little bit upset with like not feeling included or feeling that they're being seen or that they are being invested in. And so, starting off with not having a rose ceremony that first night so she can get to know them a bit better. That's good. We're only going to have like a little time together and then everybody's going to come back together so I can still get to know people. So I'm very happy that she's making those decisions.
Yeah.
You see, though, I guess he wasn't on the date, but Jason is talking to Joe. Joe, I think, is only there as a sounding board because I don't even know what his voice sounds like. I've never heard him speak, but he's always listening very intently, Dr. Joe. And so he's talking about how he still has feelings for frigging Clare. What do you think about this?
He needs to just stop. He needs to just stop going down this path with himself of thinking that he was in love with this girl. I know we discussed yesterday he's processing, his stuff in his own way. But yeah, on the one hand, though, I can respect the fact that he at least knows, like whether he's misguided in believing that he loves Clare or not is one thing, but at least he knows and is aware that he doesn't really want to stick around for Tayshia, not specifically for her, but just like in general, he's not in a place where he's ready to like be present with the process anymore. I can appreciate that he got there. I think I respect the fact that he was able to really reflect on what he wanted to do. Do I think he is not in love with Clare in a real way? Absolutely.
So it says that he should leave. Bye, boy. Well, yeah, kind of.
And he did.
Vibing with him in the beginning. I was appreciative of him going to those levels, those depths of like, emotional availability for her in that date. Because if it were me, I'd tell her like, F you, like you're not a professional. I don't feel like going to this with you on a TV show with someone that I don't even think you're going to pick me in the end. So like, I would have probably been I would have been a hard no for me. But it's just kind of like he was basically saying that there's no way that Clare and Dale could be in love. Like all the guys were kind of talking about it not being a possibility. So how the heck did he fall in love with her, having one-on-one date with her where like, yes, emotional commitment and openness, like that helps you become connected to somebody. True. But like, it's still he's only spent maybe like an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours in total with her. Like for you to be that hung up, and she wasn't even really giving back that much. You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly. Like she wasn't really into him. Like, so he's just completely misreading what that situation was. And I agree. Then he should leave. And he should have left before Tayshia even came when they had the opportunity. For some reason, he felt compelled to stay. So I'm glad he got there now to be like, I don't think this is for me because
okay, this is a bit of a tinfoil hat put on here, but do you think that maybe he was like, okay, listen, like I'm gonna get more money if I stay, so let me see if like I have a connection with Tayshia or whomever it is and see what happens. And maybe he felt that he wasn't going to be a front runner with this scenario and didn't want to get dumped.
Yes, of course.
I think that his ego might have been what was stepping in there, and he has a very valid reason for like, oh, I don't think I can get there with Tayshia, so I'm just gonna step out and leave. But I think it's that he just didn't want his ego to be bruised by Tayshia not wanting to be pursuing something with him when he was the front runner. Like,
oh yeah, for sure. I think oftentimes when people choose to leave under circumstances like that, it's also to save face, to be like, well, now I don't have to do the embarrassing limo exit where I'm crying. because I've been dumped on a date or I've been let go at a rose ceremony.
Yeah.
But in his case, I think it was more so also just that he wasn't gonna feel that way towards Tayshia, and he knew that.
What J Job is saying here too, like, or maybe that's his way of saying that Tayshia was not his type, which is very, very possible. Sans agrees with that. Sans also says, although he seemed pretty sure of himself, thinking Tayshia was going to pick him for the date. I wasn't interested in him at all. I was surprised that he got that one-on-one date. I agree with you both on your last point. Yeah, I think that I agree with Jay Jobs as well on his point too. I think that he didn't like Tayshia enough to put himself out there and maybe be sent home and humiliated kind of 2 times. I think he was just like, you know what, I'm done of being humiliated on this show. I'm going to leave now, for sure. So he's talking to Jason about this, and then Brendan gets a date. Is that what happens?
The one-on-one date card.
Let's start this journey to fall in love. Ooh, which is kind of fun. I like their date. Did Jason break up with her before or after this date? I can't remember the order.
I think it was after the group date, but before the Brendan date, but I could be wrong. Because people were like, oh, Jason's like leaving or whatever. I think it was after the group date, or maybe like sequentially. I don't remember exactly when.
Okay, so what I had next was that, so I guess maybe he got the date card with the other guys that weren't on the date.
Mm-hmm.
That must mean that they're at the second portion of the date, the group. And Easy says that Tayshia makes him giddy, and that's something about Easy too. Like, I've liked him. I thought he's been a good personality even for Clare. But he's just like all smiles and like excited. Like, he looks like a little boy getting to play with a pretty girl in this one. And I like seeing these sides of the men that were like not visible when they were at Clare at all. I was just like, who are these boring men? But like now they're just smiling and like excited to be there and wanting to spend time with her. And like, I really like seeing that side of Easy for sure. So they're talking and talk about each other having infectious energy, which is really true. They did. I felt that they did have infectious energy, but I don't know. Do you think that she actually was into him, or do you think that she just like gave him the rose, the date rose?
I thought, based on the edit, I thought that she was gonna give the rose to Zach for sure, because it seemed like they had a really strong conversation. But I think she's maybe like, her interest is piqued by Easy. I don't know. She seemed to like actually have like a nice back and forth with him. I don't feel the same spark that I feel with her and some of the other guys that emerged this episode. Like a Brendan or a Zach. I feel like she really had like moments with them, but I don't think he's completely off the radar for her.
For sure. And I was talking about this movie with my mom, but she's wondering, or was it you? We're talking about anyways about her growing up in Orange County. She might not have that much ethnic diversity in her history, and so that could be a reason why that she might be intrigued by Easy, but maybe we're not seeing the spark because it's not her normal type. Maybe. Then we see the date with the little mini date with Zach, and she's like, "How are you still looking for love at this age?" And it hasn't come out yet though that he's had to deal with a little bit of addiction. So do you think that will come out on the show? Do you think that's one of the reasons why she's crying?
Maybe. I mean, I would like to see that kind of conversation exist in a way that's coming from the perspective, because he also works he works in that same profession as well for like addiction, right? Like he is an addiction specialist or something like that. Yeah. So like, I'm always very curious to hear stories of people who have a history with addiction and have overcome that, and how they've overcome that. I think that's a really big sign of strength. And even from what we got to know of him this episode, like I said before, I didn't find him to be attractive in the earlier episodes, and I'm not necessarily like physically attracted to him, but I think he showed a lot of maturity in his conversation with her, and I understood exactly why she kind of gravitated towards him. He had like a real sense of, it seems like, self and like an understanding of where he's at. So I liked what we saw of him. I thought we got a good side of him, and she seemed really into it.
Me too. I agree with you. I don't really find him sexually attractive in that way, or like, you know, physically, but I do like people that have overcome in general. Like, I'm always like, I like dating reformed bad boys. You know what I mean? Like, people that have gone through some, overcame, and kind of saw the light at the end of the tunnel and figured out what's better for them in life. I like that journey. Like, I feel like I've gone through some kind of journey like that. And so I would like somebody that's emotionally mature enough to like have had some experiences that they've overcome, lived through, and are better for it. So I definitely thought that his maturity is very attractive, and I can understand for sure why Tayshia is into that. Son says, I like Easy, but I don't think that she's into black man. I said it. No, we said it at the same time. Yeah. We agree with you here. Son's also loves Brendan, but she probably won't choose him. Yeah, we'll talk more about Brendan like in like a second. I didn't like him beforehand, but I like him a lot more now for sure. So group date rose goes to Easy, which was, I think he was surprised about that. Can you believe I nearly said group date went to Dale?
That's just what's been happening, so it's easy.
Right? I think they're probably expecting him to go to Dale, even though he's not there anymore. And so there was a scene though with Zach and Spencer and some of the other guys, and who brought it up though? It says you come off like as a dick to Spencer. Who said that to him?
Kenny.
Kenny. And then Zach echoed?
Yeah. Well, Spencer I think Spencer was like kind of saying, I don't understand why you think that, or no, I wasn't trying to be this way. And then Zach was like, okay, you came in with an attitude, like you did. We all know that. So it got called out. But Kenny was the one who first called him out on it.
As much as like it's probably partially scripted by the show, it's a little bit babyish and a little bit bullying-ish that like the 16 new old guys are like targeting one of the 4 new guys for like coming in and trying to like, yes, we both agreed that he might have not have come in with and gave the best first impression for sure. But he's also coming in by himself into a new scenario with 16 guys that have been there, that have bonded, that have made friends. And so it could also be nervous energy that he was just like, I'm just going to be a dick so like I can feel, you know, braggadocious and like puff out my chest. I don't know. So I thought it was a little bit juvenile for how they've been reacting to him. But I think also at the same time it's for the show.
It's very high school to be a grown man and upset that these new guys came in when you've all been there for a hot minute yourselves and are acting like you're so tight with these guys that you just met. Like, calm down. That's so silly. It's no chicken nuggets fight though. Like it could be more juvenile. Must be the mature casting that we got. No one's throwing chicken nuggets this time.
No, it's fried bologna sandwiches. So there's a little moment with Tayshia and Spencer after this where they kind of do like a weird side kiss, and like she talks about his lip being swollen or like, I don't know, swollen. But what I was thinking when that happened, I was thinking like she doesn't want to kiss his lips, I don't think, because like they're just so small. And I think that she was probably like, oh, it's swollen. She probably was attracted to him like to kiss them, but like other than that, his lips are tiny little lips. But yeah, they do a little side kiss. I think she likes him a little bit.
Yeah, for some reason I think she's just attracted to him. She's like, he's hot, which okay, girl.
Like ice, I think, is a way for him to start liking her more. Like her taking care of him, like gestures and stuff like that, I think is a way that men enjoy the company of women, you know? So he just still, yeah, Easy got the group rose. Easy looked really happy, I thought. Riley didn't look happy at all, and he wasn't even looking at Tayshia. He just was like, and I was like, chill, man. Like, you know, this is still a new person. Like, Or just know each other. I don't know. It's just weird. People are weird on this show. So this is Jason's time to go talk to Claire. Tayshia. So okay. Jason was doing well. He fell really hard for Claire. Like, yeah, right. He doesn't feel like it's respectful to Tayshia. Like, that is another thing too. Like, I agree, it's not. But like, then he should have left beforehand. Like, why the extra couple of days? You know what I mean? That makes it like it's self-interested and it's not going the way that you think it's going to go, so you're going to bow out. So yeah, I'm not really into that. So just kidding. J Job says, should all the guys be on equal footing, or should Claire's guy feel more entitled? I think Claire's guys should be feeling is on like equal footing for sure. Like, I think the new guys coming in, they all know Tayshia equally as much. They didn't get to do any pre-gaming that they could have been doing that about Claire. Like, for them to be interested in Claire, like, they might have been looking at her social media, reading up about her story, people knowing about her mom, what they were going through. I mean, that was on the news, but like, you know, they had the opportunity to do some pre-gaming with Claire a little bit. They just didn't do it in the same capacity as Claire did. But I think they're all on equal footing because they don't know who she is. And they all, on the same night, they all met her.
Yes. And perhaps they should be even less entitled, to be honest, because at least these 4 guys that were cast later were cast potentially with the intention of Tayshia being the replacement, and the other guys weren't. So, you know, like, technically everyone should be on the same playing field for it to be fair, and it wasn't fair before. So
yeah,
just because they were there doesn't mean that they're entitled to it.
And also, I heard that those 4 guys have been quarantining the same amount of time as these men, like everybody. So,
oh my God,
the same process. They've been at La Quinta for the last 2 weeks that these guys are on the dates with Claire. So, in that sense too, it's like they've been away from their home and their life for the exact same amount of time. They just didn't have the opportunity to hang out with Claire for a couple of weeks. But they
just have people quarantining there that are just there. Oh my gosh.
Because they've been very strict. They're one of the first shows that went back to work while the quarantine was going on. And so I think they just wanted backups in case anything happened. Like, some guys got sick, like whatever, they could just swap people out, whatnot. I heard that Tayshia was always also waiting in the wings, you know what I mean, as like a backup bachelorette. So I think they're just like there just in case. Or like, wow. Yeah. I mean, it's all unprecedented, so, you know. So Jason's not doing well, and he goes and he talks to Tayshia, and he's like really upset. And I was happy that she didn't just let him go like that she kind of like gave a little bit of pushback. It was like, well, I wanted to get to know you. Like, why do you want to still get to know me? What do you think about her pushback?
I get where she's coming from, because again, we talked about feeling like a second choice or whatever, but really, you didn't like Jason, right, Tayshia? Like, it's fine. Let him go. Like, let him go. It's okay. It's not you, it's him. Really, it's not you, it's him. So like, let's just say bye. Like, we don't really care for him.
We don't at all. He should have just left and made Chris Harrison walk over and tell her, and she's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, like, goodbye.
Okay, I was thinking when I saw the room that he went to, I was checking to see if it was El Presidente, and it was. Oh, yeah. I should have gotten a new room for her.
Oh God, that room is killing me every time they cut to that suite. It's so funny to me.
I mean, I know that's supposed to be some bachelorette suite. Maybe it's the nicest suite that's in there, but like, I feel like she should have gotten something new than, you know, the impression of Claire and Dale, like, in the bed is still there. They just changed the covers, you know? I don't know.
I think it's the presidential suite of La Quinta. It's just the nicest room they have.
So probably Chris has that one. So whatever, he leaves because he fell in love with Claire, whatever. She wanted to get to know him, whatever. Again, she's worried that she's a second choice. She's not. Like, just be happy that he's gone, because if he stayed any longer, then he actually would be wasting your time. And I don't want her time to be wasted anymore. And so apparently Jason's usually the loudest guy, and so the guys are noticing that he is not there, which is interesting a little bit, that he did have like a good friendship with these men. But I'm happy to see him go. He can. What's next? Get ready for the journey to fall in love. Oh, it's Brendan's date.
The one-on-one, yeah.
Yeah. So we want to talk about this date a lot. What do you think about it on a whole?
I thought it was great. I thought it was a nice date for them. I thought the actual date itself, like, at least had an activity with the horseback riding, which is really nice. I think that they started to let their walls down a little bit more and more as it went on. And they seemed to actually have a really nice connection. Like, I really enjoyed it. All things considered, like, they seemed really cute.
Sans, I don't think they changed the mattress. That's what kind of grosses me out.
No way.
I think so. Ew.
A sheet change at best.
And do you think that they changed the top sheet? Because you know that they usually just top sheet, right? I really thought the date was cute, and I liked how first up we see Chris Harrison. He has like the margaritas for them, and then he has the ice cream cones, and then he has the cold coconuts, and he keeps on running around the resort, intercepting them on their path. I thought that was lighthearted. I thought it was very Bachelor in Paradise-esque, and just a little silly, and I enjoyed that being part of Chris. He must be just getting stir crazy over there, because like he's so much involvement.
Yeah, I know. It was really funny. Like, it was a silly gimmick, but it was cute, leading up to like their kiss moment that Brendan had been kind of wanting to have since the previous night, or the last time that they hung out. So I thought that was like a cute little build.
And how did you find their kiss in the pool? Did you think that it was the sparks were there?
I think, again, I just want to give credit to Tayshia for committing to the kiss when she wants it to happen, because she really like cut that moment that could have been so awkward, where he kind of asked her like, "Can I kiss you?" Like, or "I've been wanting to do this," like that like little intro, and then she was just like, "Let's go." So I think she made him feel comfortable, and for that reason, I do think that there was like some chemistry there for sure. I think they have like a bit of a spark between them. Absolutely.
Yeah, I like seeing them together. I did not like even notice who he was on Clare's season, but now, I'm like, okay, he's kind of cute. I know a lot of people have been saying like, oh, he's really hot. He's really hot. I never really thought he was really hot, but like, he's nice eyes, and like, I kind of like how nervous he feels, and so there's something about it that's endearing, but it doesn't stop from really expressing himself. And it's not it's attractive rather than it be unattractive. His like apprehension and seemingly a little bit of shyness. It's endearing to me, and I like it. So after they were at the pool, did they leave and go home before they had the night portion?
I think they always do that, right? Like, they go and then they change and then meet up for dinner. I'm pretty sure.
At dinner, yes, they did. They did go to dinner. So at dinner, hair is straight. Dinner, they talk about like he said something that was kind of funny. He's like, well, I am like a well-rounded guy, and I don't know how sexy or well-rounded is. I was like, that's so cute. But I like that she recognized. She's like, well, I'm usually pretty like excitable, and so maybe having someone like kind of grounded would be good for her. So I like that she recognized that. And she says in quite a few sound bites, like, that she thinks that he could be the one. Do you think, I don't know if we see her lips moving and if he's in the vicinity, but do you think that that's an overall sound bite about somebody else, or do you think she's actually talking to Brendan?
I think she's actually talking about him. Like, I think based on watching the episode and their date and how their date played out, I would say he's definitely like a front runner for Tayshia, based on what we know so far, which is only one episode really of her journey, but like they usually establish a front runner at this point. So I do think that she really likes him. I think so. Yeah.
and so he was really nervous about telling her about the fact that he was previously married. Slash, I also want to find out who his ex-wife is. Like, that's exciting. I'm going to do that research for next week. And so he was really nervous about telling her because obviously stigma around marriage and around divorce, and you know, some people want that experience to be their first time. I totally get why he'd be nervous, but how do you think it worked out that she got to share the same thing with him, that she's also been married and divorced? And do you think that he knew this in advance, that she'd been married?
I think it's really nice that that was actually common ground that they were able to relate to each other on. Normally, when you go into these one-on-one dates, I feel like there's like a pressure for the contestant to like reveal some kind of trauma or baggage in their life. And that's like kind of the lay of the land, where the bachelor or bachelorette is like, I need to know more about this person. So going into this date, I hope that they reveal. So that's always kind of the scene that's set when it comes to this. So all of that being considered, and he's still offering something about his personal experience, it felt less contrived and more authentic of a conversation to me, in terms of what he explained of his experience and just like having a high school sweetheart that you marry, and this is just the person that you know and love, and maybe nothing crazy happened that, you know, tore them apart, but people grow and change, and their difference was about having kids or not wanting kids and wanting kids, and like that stuff happens. That's very, very real. So I appreciated that. It felt very genuine coming from him, or maybe the show's just totally got me convinced, but I thought it was really, really authentic, and I don't think that he knew that about her. I don't think that he did.
Some people think that he knew, but I don't think that he did, because I don't think he's that good of an actor to be pretending like he's for the first time. But a lot of people would be like, oh, he knew that she was married before. And like, I even forgot about it. So I can see him not knowing. And even if he did know, like, he may not know how she's going to react regardless of her situation. So I did like how that situation, unfolded. Sam says, she said, I keep looking at his lips and he's looking at mine. She's like, that's fine. I like that too. You know, you're setting the stage for a kiss when you're looking at each other's lips. And so it's a good thing. That's a good sign. And he does have like kissable lips for sure. Jacob says, is there still a divorce stigma in today's society? Yeah, I think there's still a divorce stigma. I think it's worse for the woman in society to be divorced, because it's kind of like they're used up, you know what I mean? But yeah, I think that people would rather be the first to have that experience with somebody. What do you think? I'm not super religious though, so I like the idea of marriage, and I would hope that it would be lasting forever, but I don't think that I would personally not date someone who's been married before.
I think that I think we're starting to move away from the divorce stigma, but I do think it is like, it's contextual based on where you're from and like what, you know, the common expectation is. Sounds to me like both of them got married young and were probably raised in a situation where getting married young and having kids or like living this kind of like typical life was the path. And that's why they went down that road. In terms of like the people that I hang out with and people in my circle, we don't have that same desire. Like we're all older and not necessarily married, not necessarily having kids or anything like that. So I think it is like totally not stigmatized amongst certain groups of people, but maybe based on their upbringing, sounds like it was maybe something that they felt was just the natural course of action. Hopefully we can keep moving towards it not being stigmatized, because people grow and evolve, and maybe sometimes you grow past your time with a person and maybe not. It just depends on where you're at in life.
I actually also think that, you know, we live in a pretty liberal, forward-thinking city. Like all the coastal cities, I think, will probably be a little more liberal in their views about divorce and marriages, etc. But I think all in like the middle areas, so middle America, middle Canada, or Prairies, Canada. I think that is still maybe part of their mentality. But here in Toronto, I don't really know that many people that had kids before they were 30. Like, I don't think I know actually any that were like, oh, young mom at 22, like, not at all. Married young mom, young, no. So I think that the progression, more so is coming with like the coastal cities, like here, New York, all LA, Vegas, like all the places where they're usually live more free, more liberal, more open, more exploratory. I think that's probably where it's happening. But like in the middle, where it's a little bit more conservative, we'll say, I think that maybe it hasn't had that much growth yet.
And also for the Bachelor audience of like the wider range of people that are watching The Bachelor in America, let's say, may be more scandalized by the concept of divorce than most regular people would be like, okay, so they got divorced, like what? But I think a lot of people watching would be like, oh my goodness, I can't believe that.
Right? A scandal. But the same people that are interested in Colton's love story and being a virgin, like,
exactly.
I'm not interested in that story. I'm not interested in Hallmark. I'm not interested in like that kind of very perfect life. It's not my vibe. So I think we just know liberal people, but I think the majority of people, probably like 60-70%, still have a little bit more of a narrow-minded perspective there. But hopefully we'll keep moving in that direction because, man, just let people live their lives without all these rules. You know what I mean? Let them have fun. Let them just live, because I think that people, if they didn't feel as though they needed to marry for certain reasons, religious reasons or societal, whatever it is, if they didn't feel like that pressure, then maybe they wouldn't get divorced because they would choose somebody that they were more in line with,
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. So yeah, she didn't want to have children. They were high school sweethearts. But I thought that it was a really super cute date. I thought that they bonded really well together. Having that like story, I think it's going to help her be endeared to him and vice versa. They have like a little secret. They have a little bit of something that nobody else has and nobody else can really penetrate having that same experience. And so I think it's going to be very good for them moving forward to have that heart's understanding of what the other person has been through. So I think that's good for them. And then they had the fireworks. I love fireworks. So I was really happy that they got to have kiss with the fireworks. Are you a fireworks fan?
Yeah, I like fireworks. They're always fun to watch. I've seen some pretty cool fireworks shows like on vacations and stuff. And that's always really exciting, but I don't know. I'm into it.
People that have always loved fireworks. And so every year they used to do Symphony of Fire. And so my dad had a condo down on the water. This is when I was really young. And so it was it was like a penthouse. So like we were basically really, really, really high up. And so we would see on the water just like all these fireworks that were going from the Symphony of Fire. Would be the different countries that would be doing their whole fireworks display. And it was just like so cool. And I guess maybe I like it so much because it's like a memory of like something I did every year, every summer when I was growing up. So like I'm always just like, fireworks. So I think it's just like the kid in me that's being a little bit nostalgic. But I love that.
My favorite moment of that scene, and just like the most endearing moment for me of Brendan is at one point they're like looking at the sky and he says, "Look at how beautiful the moon is," and glistening off the water. And I was like, that's so endearing and so cute. He was so awkward and like stumbling over his words. I was like, yes, that's so cute. The moon.
Definitely better than when Dale was like, and Claire were like, oh, this is beautiful. This is so beautiful. This is so beautiful. This is beautiful. It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Not really that beautiful. Like you walk down this little corridor like before, you just put a table and chairs there. But yeah.
Or throw back to Ari's season. I love that. I just love everything.
I love that. What else happened? Anything else happened? No, she feels like she's kissing her person. I think that's a really strong statement. I think my person came from Grey's Anatomy. She said something about like, you're my person, or I need to find my person, something like that. And so a lot of people have been using this as a way to express the person that's meant for them. And so the fact that she's saying that, I was like, is this going to be another Clare scenario? She fallen for Brendan, like after one smoocheroo, but I'm here for it. I don't mind it at all. And that's pretty much what happened in the episode. They had like a little bit of an after episode moment with what's his name? Bennett, and who was it?
Yeah.
And who?
Who was he talking to? But I don't remember who he was talking to, but this was really funny actually, like just making fun of Noah's mustache, which we've all been thinking the entire time anyways.
I know. I definitely was thinking about it, and we talked about the fact that we think he was just maybe having, a younger brother syndrome where he just wants the attention. I didn't think it looked as bad as they were making fun of him. Like I thought that, but only if he's kind of like the quirky, cool guy. And I don't think that he is that. Like I don't know, what are those beers called? When you go to a brewery and like those guys that drink microbrewery kind of guy. Has like an aficionado of like coffee connoisseur, like you know what I mean, like he's not that type of guy, like hipster Portland kind of vibe. And so if he was that kind of vibe and he had the mustache, I could be able to like rock with it, but it just seems like it's purely a gimmick. And so I don't think it looks that bad, but I don't think his intentions for wearing it is to be the way that I'd want him to be wearing it, if that makes any sense. Does it make any sense?
No, it does.
It was one of the new guys. Okay, that's why we don't know who it was. It wasn't Peter. It wasn't the black guy. I don't remember his name. Sorry. And then Noah, and then Spencer. It wouldn't have been.
Honestly, I didn't even recognize what was happening other than Bennett because that was the focus of that for me. But Bennett's funny. He is funny in his little moment.
I want Bennett to be the next Bachelor after Mark. Wouldn't you want to see his journey? That would be interesting, I think.
I mean, could be. We'll see what happens.
Like, I don't think he's going to be lasting that long with Tayshia. Just from the
I don't think so.
I think that he might have one more episode in him. But I think that he's gotten so much buzz and hype from like the fandom that I wouldn't be surprised if he, at least Bachelor in Paradise, he's going to be at.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, definitely a great candidate for Bachelor in Paradise.
Yeah. So any last thoughts about this episode? Thanks for talking about it in two parts. Let's get to the whole gambit of it.
Honestly, I'm glad it happened because I was feeling very unenergized by the first 4 episodes, and I feel like this kind of refreshed my interest. So now I want to continue the journey. I appreciate the change to Tayshia, but yeah, it was good. It was like a new start to the season.
100%. So someone says there were 4 guys that they were talking to. Noah. So why do we don't remember the black guy's name? I need to remember it because
I thought it was Montel, right?
Oh, it is Montel. It is Montel. Yes, you're right. So I didn't want to do him dirty like that and like not remember his name. But he didn't have any screen time, so we didn't get to learn.
No, yeah.
So he was talking to the 4 new guys? Okay. That would make sense as to why we didn't remember who they were because we don't know who they are really. Cool. I like Bennett. I agree with you. I like that they have just shaken up this show. I was watching Lorenzima, which is Chris Harrison's girlfriend. She also does a lot of Bachelor commentary and stuff like that. And she is really, really excited about the season. Like she was talking about, she's like, our season was amazing. And like, I love how it played out. Like she did her job. Like she was really, really plussed about Clare's season. And so it's to compensate for the fact that Chris was actually pissed off about it and she's just trying to like smooth things over. But at least it seems as though the ratings are up and like she didn't completely bomb the season. So I'm happy with that. The Tayshia gets her chance at love. But I pulled cards a couple weeks ago to see about these love stories. And for Tayshia, the cards were kind of saying that she's not going to get engaged at the end. That
wouldn't surprise me based on what I said yesterday. I just think I'm happy to have her be the Bachelorette. I don't think that maybe she's actually in a position where she's like trying to find somebody to be engaged to right now, but she does seem open to dating. So I think that's kind of the journey that we're going to be on with Tayshia, and like I'm not expecting that she's gonna necessarily end up engaged, but if she does, then that's great for her.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care either way. I just want to be happy. So Son says yes, Montel, and he looked permanently shell shocked. Oh, poor Montel. I mean, these guys are new to the process. We kind of gotten used to those other guys like not knowing how to be on The Bachelorette. Poor Montel. He'll figure it out hopefully if he gets a couple of episodes. Well, darling, it's been great chatting with you. I agree, but maybe she will surprise us. I don't think so. I don't think she's getting engaged. Especially with me thinking about what you said and with the tarot card reading, I don't think she's getting engaged. And her dad there, I don't think she's getting engaged. And her being engaged before and being married, I don't think she's getting engaged. It's too, I think that she wants it to mean something else. I don't think she wants to ever get divorced again. I don't think she wants to frivolously get engaged just to like appease somebody else. And so, yeah, I'm totally 100% with you there. No, I don't think it's happening. But what is happening is that I love chatting with you about The Bachelorette. Yeah. For another 2 hours easily. But are you working on anything that people can maybe follow you with or at or doing?
Not much. I do different things creatively as they come up. Right now, I'm just working and living my life as we're navigating a pandemic. But I have my Instagram handle just there at Tanya Philly if you feel like following me. Yeah, that's it.
Perfect. And you guys know the drill, but if you don't, please just make sure you subscribe right down over there. On our way to 1,000 subscribers. We can't do it without you. So if you like our content, like this video, but maybe even share it with a friend and maybe they can subscribe because that really, really helps us. We love hanging out with you guys in the chat. So get more friends to do so. We can have a little bachelor party. You could also, if you don't mind, just ring that bell so you'll be notified every time we go live. Sometimes we have unconventional times where we go live, and so you will be informed when we do so in the future. I'm really grateful to be talking about The Bachelorette. It's definitely been a light now. It's just like I'm enjoying the season a little bit more. Yes, it was entertaining with Clare, but it was also kind of soul sucking and draining at the same time, you know? So I'm happy to have the lightness of Tayshia, and I'm happy for you guys to be joining us on Tayshia's journey. That's all I got. Bye.
Bye.